Hello again, my tier ranking fans, and today we are going to be doing one that was heavily requested after I did the villain tier ranking and probably should have been seen coming, and that is ranking fantasy protagonists. Now, before I get any further into the video, I do need to acknowledge that yes, this lighting is terrible. It's very late at night, I have none of the natural lighting I normally do, and one of my lights burnt out, and I'm waiting on a new bulb. It's like this giant-ass bulb, and I didn't have an extra one. Bad YouTuber me. But let's go ahead and jump into ranking fantasy protagonists. I've grabbed a few very iconic ones, using actors for some, character images for others, because, you know, why not just kind of choose randomly? I've kind of just grabbed a mishmash of characters here to pull from across the fantasy genre, some of my favorites, some I just have a lot to say about. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump in and rank a bunch of fantasy protagonists, shall we? First up, I wanted kind of outside the ballpark here, because I never really talked about how much I liked him as a fantasy protagonist in my review of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but we have Aang, who I actually really did enjoy. He starts as a solid character and still manages to evolve quite a bit while maintaining true to what the character is, but also taking on a lot more maturity, growth, and understanding of the world around him. So I really have not a whole lot bad to say about Aang. I do enjoy him quite a bit, so pretty easily for me, I'm going to go ahead and put Aang into the A tier. So I did like Aang quite a bit. Next up we have Harry Potter, and I don't think the character Harry Potter is why many people love the Harry Potter series. Harry Potter is fine, but he's kind of a blank slate you're allowed to project yourself on, and I think he's supposed to do that, and he does it well. But I don't really love him. His personality never really sticks out to me much. I can say he's smart, I can say he's a bit witty, but Daniel Radcliffe definitely brought more to the character, in my opinion, than what was in the page initially. Obviously, not as much as a blank slate as someone like Edward Cullen. Duh, not even close, but not the deepest. So for Harry Potter here, I'm gonna go, I'm balancing between B and C, and I think I'll settle with a low B. Not bad by any means, has a way to be written and is written that way fine, but many other characters from Harry Potter evoke way more emotion than the main protagonist, Harry Potter. Umbridge, for me, Hermione, Snape, way more interesting and all deserve a higher spot. Just because of their either greater personalities or greater growth, things like that. Harry doesn't grow much, even, in my experience. Obviously, age-wise and maturity-wise, but I don't know. Well, that's enough about Harry Potter. Let's move on to Vin. Vin is the star of Mistborn, Brandon Sanderson's epic, his first real smash hit trilogy, and a character I deeply love. We start with this kind of young street urchin type who grows into, I'm not gonna get into spoilers here, but more than that, a lot more. Very interesting, great growth, realization of confidence, power, all this stuff. One of the best underdog executions I've ever seen in fantasy. So for me, Vin is going to be our first S tier pick. I really do believe in a few decades, Vin will be remembered as one of the best fantasy protagonists we've ever seen for the genre. I do honestly believe that. Next up, we have Lyra. I grabbed the actress here who's been cast for the upcoming His Dark Materials adaptation. Side note, amazing casting. I love this girl for Lyra. I don't know why, but after watching Origins Wolverine again and her performance in that and remembering the character Lyra, I think this is amazing casting. So for me, happy on that. But Lyra is a very complex protagonist for a typical fantasy YA series, even though I still don't totally buy into His Dark Materials being YA. I really do like her arc. I love her personality. She bleeds off the page and really feels like a real person. So for me, Lyra is going to be A tier. I wish there was a bit more evolution of character. She does evolve, don't get me wrong, but I just wish we got more. And with the new His Dark Materials books coming out, I'm open. I'm not sure if it does follow Lyra still. I hope it does, because I do enjoy her character, and I would like to pick up and learn more. And she actually, I will say as a caveat of, if we do get more material with Lyra, could be bumped up to S tier. I really do like Lyra, so that's good for me. Next up, we have Roland from the Dark Tower. A certified badass machine murder, just very little emotion at first, and his arc is more of a come down to humanization, come down to make friends, come down to feel more about the world. And it's Stephen King, and it's a character. Of course it's great. Stephen King's one of the best character authors ever. So Roland, for me, honestly, I haven't finished based off that policy. I can't put it in S, but I definitely can put it in A and have another caveat in there where Roland could be an S for me because I really enjoy his arc. I really like his lack of personality and then slowly developing one, and his relationships with those around him really stand out. He's one of those where his whole character is elevated by the relationships he has, and I appreciate that immensely coming from my end. Next up, we have Kaladin. First possible controversial pick here. Kaladin's great. Kaladin is wonderful, but in terms of a character, I don't find him as deep as, let's say, Dalinar. I find his motivations and growth within the book to be his best aspects, and his continued growth will be, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, it could also motivate him up to S tier, but what we've gotten so far absolutely earns A, because the first Way of Kings books, he knocked it out of the park, and it was so appealing to see him become who he was, but the series isn't finished, so I can't give him S yet. And there are other people from Stormlight I like even more. Dalinar, even though we haven't finished following him yet, could be S tier for me just off of respect of what that character is alone. Next up, we have Harry Dresden. This is really just like charm over everything. Harry Dresden is just so much fun to read and write along with. He's brilliant, and I can't get enough of that. I really just dig following his personality, his take on things. He's 90%, okay, not 90, he's 80% of the reason Dresden Files is great. The rest is the world and some of the other characters and things like that, but Harry is such a great source of humor. He's such a great source of just charisma that I really adore him, but he doesn't evolve much. So far, he's still kind of the same guy we got in book 1, and that's a big limiter for me when it comes to my enjoyment of your character. I'm not done with Dresden Files, so this could improve, but I'm feeling B. I love everything I've gotten from him so far. I just still need more, which is a great criticism for me to have for him because it lets the author, it lets the fans know I want more. I mean, if he was bad, I would just be saying, no, I'm done, he sucks. But he doesn't. He's good. I still need, give me some more Henry Dresden juice.
What? I don't know why I did it like that.
Next up, we have one of the all-time classics, Aragorn, son of Arathorn. I'm going off books here. And one of the biggest differences between books and movie is Aragorn in the books is a bit more motivated to get the throne. They made him a little more hesitant in the movies, and in the books he's not like all about it, but he's definitely more interested in taking back the throne of Gondor, which it's kind of interesting how making him more wanting the throne is actually more different than a lot of fantasy protagonists we get now, because a lot of fantasy protagonists we get now are hesitant rulers, hesitant to take the throne. But in the book, he's a bit more, give it to me. So I actually think that's a more interesting choice. But here's the thing. His character doesn't grow that much. He has a decent personality, but not the best ever. And he's still kind of the same guy from Fellowship at Return of the King, in my opinion. He's still great. And for influence alone, I love him because he's helped set up so many great characters I do love even more, like Kaladin. But controversial pick time, I'm doing Aragorn B tier. People are going to hate me. Sorry. If we're going off book, reread Lord of the Rings and then come back and leave your hate comment. Or at least reread a lot of Aragorn parts because he's great. Strider's awesome. But if I'm going off of technically how great is the character written and, all that stuff, he's not on the level of like a Dalinar in terms of just depth and nuance, and I don't know. I probably should have just gotten higher to make people happy. But I'll never do that. And we're moving on to Jon Snow. So this is a series that's not finished. The Song of Ice and Fire books are not over, so I can't put him in S tier. I don't quite think he's earned A tier, if I'm gonna be honest. Jon in the books is a good character. No one's gonna deny that. I mean, there's not really any bad characters from George R.R. Martin. But Jon Snow, I've never found to be much outside of just this is what we typically expect with the bastard reject child arc. He's of course gonna be the underdog. He's gonna try to come back on top. I've never been surprised by book Jon Snow. So for that reason, man, I'm going to make people mad again. I'm going to make people so mad again. I need to say this before I do this. Many A Song of Ice and Fire characters would be S and A tier. I just kind of randomly picked a bunch of ones that I probably should ask people when I decide which list to do. I'm going to do that in the future. Follow me on Twitter. I'll put out tweets in the future of who I should do for these lists, and I'll let you know what list is happening. But for now, Jon Snow for me is C tier. I just don't love his character. I'm sorry. I really don't. There are other A Song of Ice and Fire characters who would be way higher. Most of them, I'd even say. I just don't like Jon that much. So fight me, I guess. I'm going to get yelled at a lot for this one. Next up, we have Thor. He's amazing. Like, he's one of the best just complete arcs. He does a lot. It's a bit of a tropey arc, but he just does it better than I'd say anyone else who's followed that tropey arc. So just earns it. Robert Jordan's one of the best character workers ever, and Brandon's finishing off with him was just fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and just put him in S tier. I have whole videos on him card right here if you want to see my detailed thoughts about Thor. But yeah, I love the guy. Next up, we have Locke Lamora. Lies of Locke Lamora is one of my favorite first books to a fantasy series ever, The Gentleman Bastards, and that is largely due to this little scoundrel right here. He's the first real anti-hero we're coming in. I guess Roland could fall into that as well because he just murders people. But for me, oh man, talk about personality. I mean, even more so than Harry Dresden. I love Locke Lamora. So much. His relationship with Jean is one of the best I've ever seen in fantasy. An easy A tier pick for me. I absolutely just morally gray, but a lovable scoundrel. He's magnificent. And he's one of the people that you just root for. I feel like I could root for him in any circumstance. There could be a plot line where it's like, Locke's like, I need to burn this orphanage. And I'd probably be like, he's probably justified. I'll root for him. He's probably all right. And I know he's not always right. Like, he's kind of a bad guy. But I love him, though. All right. Next up, we have Frodo. All right, if we're doing I'm going to do a sidekicks list in the future, possibly. I just want to put this out there. Sam would be an S tier. Sam is the GOAT sidekick. He's the best ever. I don't love Frodo a lot. Okay. Frodo, okay, I'm just going to get this out of the way. Frodo, for me, is another B tier. All right? Calm down. Relax. All right. Craig from Legendarium Podcast, you're watching. I know you probably want to punch me in the face right now. But here's the thing, all right? Frodo's fine. He's good. He does he serves a great purpose. He set up so much for the fantasy genre in the future. I really enjoy all of that. But I don't know. For me, like, no. You know what? I'm letting Elijah Wood's performance influence me here. And I don't love Elijah Wood's performance in the movies. If we're going off books, he deserves A. He really does. And I'll give him that, but I just want to put this on the record. Elijah Wood's performance of Frodo is probably one of my few heavy criticisms for the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Maddie and I are in the middle of rewatching them because she hasn't seen them before, and so I'm rewatching them. She's watching them for the first time. And Frodo's kind of driving me nuts. So, yeah, book A, movie B, because Sam puts up with a lot from Frodo. And why is I don't know. Let's move on. This is going to turn into a cluster. So I've saved Kvothe for the very end here. Kvothe is not a bad character. He's a bit of a Mary Sue, that's undeniable. Meet me in the middle here for one of these Kvothe mega fans. You've got to admit, the guy just solves every problem and nothing's his fault. He makes mistakes, but even the mistakes are like, oh, it wasn't really your fault, and you're justified. Like, that's the problem I have with him a lot. But in terms of personality, he brings it. He's got a good personality. In terms of growth, there's a bit there, but when you start as just kind of smart and good at everything as he does, it's a bit hard. And no to the guy who's commented on every video I've put out in the last month that I should make fun of Kvothe. I never just want to make fun of a character, and Kvothe does not deserve to be made fun of, so no. He's got charm. He's well written in terms of dialogue and everything. For me, I'm just gonna meet you guys in the middle a bit, and I'm gonna put him C tier. I don't think anyone reasonably is gonna put Kvothe in S tier. Like, he's not one of the greatest fantasy protagonists of all time. Some people might try to do A. I think a majority would do B if they're well read in fantasy. I'm feeling C because he just rubs me the wrong way. There's some storylines with him I don't like, and the just meandering second book where I just found him insufferable. Really drag him down. But here's the thing. Patrick Rothfuss is a great fantasy author. Just from the amount of effort and beautiful writing he does in his stories. Anyone who says otherwise is an idiot. I personally don't like his books for just various reasons, but I'm going to say again, next series he does, I'm first in line for it, if he ever does. But this is my fantasy protagonist list, probably the most controversial list I've ever done, if I'm being perfectly honest. This one's gonna make some people kind of mad. But I'm happy to do it for y'all. Let me know your rankings of these characters in the comments down below. And in the pinned comment, let me know what tier list you want to see me do next. And I'll be putting out a tweet the day I do it to try and get people to let me know who I should include in that list. So follow me on Twitter at Daniel B. Green as well. No, the B in Daniel B. Green is not a pot thing. Everyone keeps thinking that. My middle name starts with a B, so it's literally Daniel B. Green, and that's not a pot thing. So anyway, guys, like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. And have a good one, y'all. Peace.